everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we are looking at the Suqqu Pre Holiday collection. I did not pick up the entire collection. I picked up mostly the cool collection. It turns out I pre-order usually from the Suqqu counter at Selfridges because it hits Selfridges first. It is not currently available in the United States. So I bought pieces individually. It turns out that there were sets that actually I think are still at Selfridges. There's like a cool set and a warm set. So most of what I picked up is in the cool set. I did not pick up any lipsticks. Let's just get into what I picked up actually. So the first thing is the eyeshadow palette. Now this one is $119, and like I said, this is the cool one. If you've watched my channel before, you know what color immediately caught my eye, but I do like lavender as well. This blue is just, I mean, I was like, yeah, must have it. Liner, and the liner, let's see if I can get the number on it, and if not, because I threw the box away, 107. It looks like a light gray liner. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand because I want to keep it there for a little bit. The Suqqu liquid liners are really good. You can make a broad line like I did here, or you can be very, very narrow. It's got a nice tip to it. These dry down darker than they look at first. So we're just going to keep it on the back of my hand for a while. You'll see it'll look a little bit deeper. I picked up both and what they're called are, make sure I get the name right, Glow Touch Eyes. It's in 110. This is 110, and this is 109. Now I know they look a little scary in the in the bottles, but I'll swatch them in a minute. They actually go on your eyes. You can use them by themselves, or you can use them underneath or over shadow. And then I picked up both blushes. I picked up the blushes because Suqqu blushes have been my favorite lately. My favorite is the melting blush formula. These are a little different. These are the pure color blushes, and they actually have basically a highlighter in them. I'll show you what I mean. This one is 134. This was the warm. This goes with the warm quad. Like I said, I did not pick it up. And the warm lip, which I did not pick up. And then there's the cool one, which is 135. That's pretty, if you haven't bought Suqqu before, they tend to do what they do. They do a warm collection and a cool collection. This is 135. This is the cool. And I picked these up because, like I said, I really do like the Suqqu blush formulas. I think they're extremely good. And these will be limited edition, so I was like, okay, I'll get them. The eyeshadow quad, I have gone back and forth on the warm one. I think it's still available, and it will be available at Harrods and some other places. I've gone back and forth. The lips, I didn't get the lipsticks, although the lipsticks will look really nice because I'm definitely getting the holiday collection lipsticks from Suqqu. Yes, they have pre-holiday and holiday. So there's the liner after a little bit. Can you see how it's dried down just a little bit darker, a little bit deeper? And it's a very nice sea gray blue white shade. And it looks really pretty on, and I'll use it today. So I was like, okay, I have to get that. So I don't have anything on my face except for the Suqqu foundation. This is, what shade is this? It's a good question. 210. And this is the cream foundation. I think it's called, yeah, it's called the cream foundation. It comes in a little jar. The only thing I don't like about it is I have to scoop it out, which, you know, sometimes is annoying. But this is the foundation from Suqqu that I prefer. It works better for my skin. So I'm going to do all the pieces that I picked up today on my face. I don't have bronzer on. I thought I could use a little bit of this. I think it'll be too warm for like my skin tone, but I thought I could just use a little bit of it, and that might work. As a type of bronzer. Like I said, won't be exact because it's, you know, it's really a blush, but I thought we could try it. And I'm looking for my brush and now I can't find it. Okay, so I'm going to swatch these for you. As you can see, there's a copper shade, a yellow shade, and then a white shade. There's the plastic. And the way that this works generally is that you have the blush shade, and I still have like marks on my arm from other things. The blush shade, and then the highlight, and then this has actually 3 shades in it, which is unusual. Usually they only have 2. But you can see it's very light. Ignore the rest of this. It's these 3 shades right here. And I think you can see how like light it is. So it's none of the Suqqu products are overtly pigmented. Usually there's enough pigment there that it works for me, but I will say they are meant for somebody who likes a lighter look. If you like something very, very pigmented, this probably won't work for you. So I'm going to use that brownish shade as a little bit of a bronzer. I'm trying to keep the brush in the bronzy part. My friend Gita told me that there is a blush from Suqqu, which I have not picked up yet. I'll probably order it when I get the holiday collection, number 11 in the melting blush formula, that actually does work as like a bronzer for someone with my skin tone. So I will be picking that up. But this will just, you know, warm up my skin a little bit. And as you can see, it's still light. All right. Now I'm going to take the other one and use that as blush and highlighter. I think you can see when I do this one, I think you can see this one a little bit better. You know what? Let me wash my arm. Come back. Okay, now I have an arm completely clean. Let's go back with the warmer one. I mean, I don't think it's going to show up a heck of a lot better, but you won't have anything distracting from it. So that's the orangey shade. There's the yellow shade in the middle and the highlighter. So I know it's really hard to see. It is, it's hard to see. That's 134. That's one I used as like bronzer. All right, now we'll check out, all right, my camera lost its mind a little bit, so I'm back. All right, so 135, which is the cooler one. And I know it's a little hard to see. I'll hold it up again in a second, but there are 3 shades in here. And let me know if you want to see swatches of these on me and my husband like I did with Tom Ford and Clé de Peau. I could certainly do that. That's 135. All right, might be time for a new camera, guys. The camera has gone like nuts, so we'll see how this works. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we're gonna do blush using the cooler compact. This one here, and I'm going to go in with the highlighter first. You can blend these together and get a highlighting blush, which is what I usually do, but I'm trying to sort of show you the different components of it so you can see it. That's the highlighter, and I blended the 2 highlighting shades together. And let's take the blush. Now I am putting it over the highlighter, so I mean it'll lessen it somewhat, but I think you can see what I mean by these have more of a soft kind of ethereal look, because in the pan I think it looks much deeper than it looks on my face. It's really pretty though. Suqqu does a really nice job with all their products, but I especially like their blushes. I think their blushes are really good. Okay, so that's the look so far. I'm going to use the gloss from Spring. This is shade 111. It's like the purpley gloss. I thought it would work with this look today. It's a light gloss. It's not like super heavy, and I do like that. Okay, well, all right. And see if this works. Let's see if my camera will actually let me record this. Okay, so let's swatch the eyeshadow palette. The first shade, the lightest shade, is basically an opalescent shade, and it looks kind of similar to the liner, actually. Okay, so here's the opalescent shade. There you go, you can see it. Here's the lavender. Here is the deep cool. It's almost like a grayish brown, and here's that blue. I am tempted to, there's so many ways you can use these palettes. When I do them for you, I try to show you all the shades, but I'll tell you right now, if I was gonna do it myself, just for a day, I would probably like use this and then use this on the eye and be done with it, and then take a little bit of opalescence, or I would take this shade and just this shade and be done with it. I probably wouldn't use all 4 shades. I generally don't when I do like just a normal day look. I usually use like 2 or 3 shades. It's always nice to have the 4 shades, but just saying, like most of the time I do something simpler because I just don't have time. So today, I want to show you all 4 shades. let's go with the lavender shade first. And let's just put that all over the eye. The lavender shade is one of those shades that this kind of shade looks good on a lot of people, but some people do not look good in a lavender. It depends on your skin undertone, I think, because it does have like a grayish purple hue. If you're very warm toned, you might not like the shade, or you might like the contrast. It really does depend on, you know, just preference and what you like. But I know a lot of people who have more like of an olive tone shade, like undertone, that don't particularly love lavender on their eyes. On me, lavender works very well, and it's one of the shades I really like. I like wearing it in like clothing as well. Purple, I like in general. Pink, not so much. Purple, yes. Now see how pretty that is just by itself? Just a beautiful lavender shade. Like if you were somebody who likes to do one and done, I know a lot of people do, you could just do this. And I think it looks really nice. Put on a little bit of liner, put some mascara on, you're ready to go. So that's what I mean. Like a lot of times I would do that. I'd be finished. So let's take the deep shade, the grayish. It's almost a very deep mushroom. Now, since I'm putting it on over the lavender, it won't be as deep. And actually that was what I was trying to achieve. It'll blend a little bit. If you put this on first, then you'll get a deeper look with it. But since I put the lavender down first, it won't be as deep on the eye. This is beautiful. I say this every time I use a Suqqu quad, because usually I'm like, it's okay. Like when I see it online, I'm always just like, well, I don't, you know, love it or whatever. And then I put it on the eye and I'm always impressed. Every time. I've never tried a Suqqu quad and been like, I don't like it. I've always liked it. Some color stories I appreciate more than others, and some color stories look better on me, but they're always curated so well, and they always make for a beautiful look. I will also tell you that generally when you'll see pictures from Suqqu, they look much more subdued than they can be on the eye. Like you can build them up quite a bit because of the aesthetic. The aesthetic generally that Suqqu is using in their ads is very, very light, almost like one color on the eye, and then if there is a deeper color on the lash line, you don't have to use it like that, but you might see that. So if you see it and you're like, well, it's not pigmented enough, they are pigmented. It's just that generally they're not used that way in their marketing. Okay, so this is just the 2 shades. Look at how beautiful that is. Just 2 shades. And it's stunning. Stunning. All right, I'm gonna take the opalescent shade and just kind of put it in the corner of the eye here, but also like the first, like just like a little bit first, like not quite just the I can't think of what that's called. Why is my brain not working? Inner corner, but like a little bit more than just the inner corner. Yeah, it catches the light beautifully. Now I'm not going to put that in the brow area, because what I would say is in general something like that will accentuate texture, and you tend to have more texture up here when you're older. So what I'm going to do is just lightly, whatever's on the brush, pull it into the crease. Just makes for a little bit more of a seamless. All right, now when I take the blue, it's going to change the look completely, which is, I'm going to love it, but I want you to see what it looks like with just the lavender, that grayish brown shade, and then the opalescent in the inner corner. The blue is this is gonna be very different with the blue. I'm gonna use my finger. Yeah, the blue takes over the look. Now, what I would say is if you want to have more of the purple show through, then use the blue with like a brush, or keep it to one area. I use my finger. It's the most dense way to use it. So you're going to get more of that blue, but you know, I love the color. So I definitely want to see it. I'm going to fan it out a little bit so that it's a little lighter. So you see the purple underneath a little bit. And then we'll take the opalescent shade lightly. Yeah, it's a beautiful look. Not a shock. Suqqu always does it. Suqqu does a beautiful job every time. All right, so let me clean up my under eye a little bit. I'm gonna take the blue and I'm gonna go very carefully on my lower lash line with it. And I say carefully because I think this one would have fallout. Just keeping it towards the outer corner. Yeah, it's a stunning look. Okay, beautiful. Let me put on a little bit of, mascara. We'll come right back. Oh wait, I forgot. Liner. Don't want to put mascara on yet. Okay, so with the mascara, for the mascara, I'm going to take this liner and I'm going to go slowly because I don't want to mess up the eye look. This pen should work like the other one that I've used, and it should be pretty easy. What I do is I tend to just like lay it down because I've mentioned this before. I have pretty thick, long lashes, and it has a tendency to get in the way of the liner, which I know no one feels bad for me on that one, but it is true. All right, now it's gonna dry, so I'm gonna have to let it sit for a second, but I think that's pretty good. All right. So I'll let it sit before I put the mascara on, and we'll come right back. Okay, we're back. Some mascara on, liners on. I really like this liner. It's very mod looking, like very 60s. It's got that kind of feel to it because it's got that white gray kind of thing, a little bluish. I really, really like it. So last but not least, let's look at the Glow Touchless Eyes. This is the blue one. The number is 109. That's going to be the cool opalescent. It's going to have that blue look to it. And then this is 110, which would go with the warmer collection if I had picked up the warmer collection. But to be honest, I think it could go with anything because it's got like just, it's pink. It's got a pinkish opalescence to it. Let's put a little bit of the blue on the eye and see what happens. You can already see there's a ton of opalescence to this look. Just in general, that shade that I put on at last. Let's, you know what? I'm gonna not put the wand on my eye because I don't want to ruin the wand. So I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand like that. And then I'm gonna put it on with the brush. Just so we don't have a lot of, I don't want to get stuff on the brush. Oh wow. Yeah, that's very opalescent. Now the only thing is I don't know if it's picking up the shadow from underneath. It's kind of hard to tell. I think it picks up a little bit of it. And it definitely feels wet. Like it feels like it's wet. Let me try the wand, and I don't want to ruin the wand, but let's see. Yeah, it goes on better with the wand. I just didn't want to get the wand all dirty, but it does pick up the shadow underneath, guys. So what I would say is if you're going to use it, I would use it either at the beginning, like by itself, or I would be very careful how you put it on because it picks up the shadow. You can see it took off some of the shadow. You get a beautiful opalescence, but it takes off some of the shadow. So maybe if you use your finger, let me try that. Maybe if you use your finger, it won't take up the, yeah, I think the best way to do it might be your finger. I think it's still picking up the shadow underneath, but yeah, it picked up almost all the shadow, guys. Can you see like the shadow's gone underneath there? You can just see my lid. So what I would say to you is if you're going to use this product, I think you use it by itself, or I don't know, I think you might have to use it by itself. I'll play around with it a little bit more, but it took off the eyeshadow completely. I mean, it's very pretty, but it completely took off the shadow that was there. So I think Maybe you have to wait until you're, I don't know, maybe you have to spray like a setting spray and then use this to get it to not take the shadow off, but it removed the shadow from this completely. This one not as bad, but yeah, you can see what I'm talking about. I think this is a product you use by itself. They said you could use it over shadow, but I mean, that just lifted the shadow completely. So I think you use this by itself. Maybe you could, if you went in like, I don't know, I'll have to play around with it to see how it would work over a shadow, but I think it's a by yourself kind of product. Playing around with it. I mean, it's beautiful. It's not that. It's just, it's going to pick up the shadow. So like I said, I mostly have the cool tones. I don't have all the warm tones. I do have the warm tone blush. I think this is a really beautiful collection. If you're somebody who likes like a blue icy opalescence, I think the cool toned shades are going to be great for you. I did not pick up the lipsticks, so I can't comment on those, but there were 2 lipsticks as well. And I would say the other quad is a very warm quad. It's got like yellow in it. I think it's beautiful. I just have, I've lately been trying to like cut back a little bit. You'll see in my Will I Buy It, I feel a little, almost not bored, but like the collections, yes, everything's beautiful, but there hasn't really been a lot lately that's like wowed me. And I feel like maybe some of it has to do with like makeup overload. So I'm trying to cut back a little bit on what I pick up. And I knew I would like these blue shades, but the yellow warm shades like in the other one didn't appeal to me as much. I was kind of like, eh. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to take that blue with a brush and see if I go over it. Yeah, you can definitely go over it. I got fallout when I did that, but that worked. You can see the fallout on my face, but so maybe you use it first or you use it by itself. Like I said, I'll have to play around with it a little bit more, but you can definitely put it on top of it and make it more opalescent, but I wouldn't use it, at least not yet. I haven't figured out how to do it. I would not use it over a shadow if you want to keep the shadow, because I think it just takes it right off so far. Like I said, I'll play around with it a little more. All right, those are my thoughts about the pre-holiday Suqqu collection, mostly the cool shades. The holiday collection will be available soon, and I will be picking some things up from that. So I'll have a video on that as well. If you have any questions or there's anything you want to see this swatched up against, anything like that, let me know. I can certainly do that. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.